Michael Jackson was one of the most influential entertainers of all time. But who influenced Michael Jackson to become who he eventually became, the king of pop? Today, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest influences on Michael Jackson as an entertainer. What happens when showmanship, excitement, and soul collide? You get Michael Jackson, but you know what? It started long before. Now, we're going to be talking about some of the artists that really had an impact on the way that Michael Jackson showed up on the stage. And I could not do this episode alone. I have told you guys about my love for Michael Jackson and my fandom and where it all started. And it really started with my dad. My dad had a huge influence on me and my Michael Jackson fandom. He's a music encyclopedia. He is a big, big music fan and a big Michael Jackson fan. Dad, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here to talk about one of my favorite artists, Michael Jackson. To me, I've seen a lot of artists over my years of watching music and entertainment. And Michael Jackson, to me, put all like music, excitement, and entertainment together to become the most exciting entertainer ever, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just glad to have witnessed him as a young boy to growing into a man. And he just, he's been something special to me, and I can't just forget him. I'm glad my daughter took him to another level, and she is keeping him. I want to give a special thank you to you for keeping a legacy alive for so many years after his death. That was special.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And becoming a Michael Jackson fan really started so much with you introducing me to the music as a young kid. And I've actually shown a clip sometime earlier this year of me dancing and you saying, okay, dance or whatever, or listen to the music. And I'm dancing around in the basement with all your vinyls in the background, dancing to Michael Jackson.
Yes. That was the start. And I think you might have been, about 3-4 years old?
Yeah.
And guess what? It looked like it actually stuck in your mind, your body, and your soul.
Yes.
And ever since then, it looked as though you have never forgot that moment.
No, seriously, I haven't. I never grew out of it. Everybody says everybody has that Michael Jackson phase as a kid, but it's not a phase. I think, my fandom is here to stay.
Yeah. You know what? My thing was when I was a young kid in about, let's say, 7 years old, and roughly that's when he started.
Yes.
Mike is 1 year younger than I am. And guess what? When I was in school, 3rd grade, my 3rd grade teacher used to give us songs of Michael Jackson, and we used to sing because the songs used to come out so often that we used to sing the songs in our school. And I remember her giving us I Want You Back, Stop the Love You Say May Be Our Own. And those songs, Daddy's Home, I sung in elementary school with Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Imagine that. That's how far I go back with Michael Jackson. And he remains a special icon to me as well.
And I remember you even telling me Maybe Tomorrow was one of the songs that they had you memorize and sing as a part of music
now you
class.
Think about that. That's have to be at least 40 years ago.
Wow.
40 years ago where Michael Jackson sat down here and me as a young child singing his songs in my elementary school. And today you're still talking about the man, Michael Jackson, Mr. Entertainer, which means for 45 or 50 years, he's been entertaining the entire world at this level.
Yes.
That's longevity.
Yeah, seriously. And it's so interesting. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today is, you've always shared so much knowledge with me, not only about Michael Jackson, but about other artists as well. And there are a lot of fans of Michael who watch this channel or listen to this show that are 12, 13, 14. They weren't even alive when Michael Jackson passed away, that he has new fans coming in every single day. And a lot of these fans have said to me, MJ Fangirl, why don't you have on a fan that actually was there to witness Michael Jackson from the beginning? And I couldn't think of anyone better to have on here today than you.
Let me say something to you. Long time ago, like I said, when I was just his age, pretty much when he started out, we never really seen anybody like that. And we also, at the time when he started singing his songs, we used to listen to music back in the day with adult singers. and feel good about music and being excited. And for him to come along at his age, so young, so mature, so exciting, that it was just unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you now, just like today, you're looking at him with excitement. When everybody looked at his Billie Jean moves and his brothers together, you remember he had 20 years of just his brothers together, that we all was in that excitement. He took it to another level. He took entertainment to another level, which means that that's special. A lot of these entertainers today, they have either they're entertainers, they got great voices, they got good moves, they look good. Michael had the whole package. And I
Yeah.
think that makes a difference. And I think that comes from over the years of looking at all great artists at their moment, and he put it all together, whereas look as though he pretty much say, you know what, in order for me to be super, super great, super, super exciting, and a whole different level of entertainment for the entire world, I'm going to put all these pieces together. I'm going to put a little piece of Sammy Davis. I'm going to put a little piece of Jane Brown. I'm going to put a little piece of Jackie Wilson, and whoever makes me feel good. And each step along the way, each one of these entertainers turn around at their moments from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. They brought something different that made them at the top of the game and made the world look at them. But every last one of them did not have the complete package,
Right.
to me. And I think that's the difference between Michael and everybody else that was superstars. I'll give you a good example. Michael had the voice. Michael had the excitement. Michael had he was a writer. He was a producer. Michael also had the look.
Yeah.
And I said, Michael, when you put all that together, that's a package that a lot of entertainers didn't have everything. I think that took him to the stratosphere of the world. And on top of that, he conquered the world.
He did. And one of the things that I've always been kind of like, oh man, I wish I was there for, were his concerts and his live shows. You've actually seen Michael Jackson in concert a number of times, right?
Yes. You know what? The one that I never forget that really made me feel excited, just like I was a brand new child or somebody in the audience looking at him, is when he came out with Can You Feel It? That was the first video I seen. And I understand that was the first music video that they made, believe it or not. And he produced that video and he made it for his concert. And that is what they opened the concert up with. When I looked at him live, Can You Feel It? And that right there was something special. And so I think, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, that was one of the first music videos that cost him like $1 million to make and create. And guess what? Only somebody like Michael Jackson could have made that video with that beat, with that excitement, only because of what all the years of his entertaining brought up to that next level of excitement. So it went along with the video. So when you say dun, 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 now you thinking of the Jacksons back in the day when they was doing their moves on the stage. It kind of let you feel what we've seen in the past, that video. He wasn't doing anything, but the video and the music made you feel about, imagine them on stage.
Right.
So you think about that element right there alone is excitement.
And that's
that we have to.
And
yes.
I remember you were telling me that they kind of like had the video opening part of the concert at one point, right? Like they showed the hand with the sparkles going over the audience.
Yeah, they opened the concert with that video. That opened the concert. And then when after they did it for a while, then they came out on stage. And then that's when they all did the dance in unison. Dun, 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 dun. They did that with the next beat, but it was live. And they took it off from that point on. And never forgot that. And that was live. I think I must have seen at least 5 of his concerts.
Yeah, you have. And one of them was with me, even though it was like later on. But in 2001, we went together to see the 30th anniversary show in September, where it was a lot of other artists paying tribute and homage to him, but also Michael had his solo set. But he also performed with his brothers. And I remember like going wild because I was 14 and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm finally seeing them live.
you remember it was very difficult to get that 30th anniversary concert. We had to stay, back in the day, we stayed online waiting for the opportunity to get a seat. The whole world was trying to get a seat in Madison Square Garden to see that concert.
I remember.
I stayed there for 10, 12 hours waiting for an opportunity for that to open up and punch a seat in.
Yes.
We had, back in them days, it was very difficult. Remember, we had to wait. We had the slow modem.
Yeah.
To punch in and get a seat. Remember, I said we got to watch this. I said, wait to show up. And once we get those seats, we got them.
Right.
We stayed there for about 4 or 5 hours. Remember?
Yeah, and we had three phones. We had, I think, a cell
Right,
phone and two house landlines and the
right, right,
computer.
right. But we got in there though.
Yeah, we
We
did.
was in there.
We did.
We,
And
we
I
got in there, and that was great because guess what? I'm glad you was able to see that because you think about it, that was actually his last concert right before 9/11, right? So we
yes,
got
it
to see it
was the day before
with the
9/11.
brothers, right? With the brothers, right?
That was actually the very last concert with all six brothers on stage was then.
And he had a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stars from Britney Spears to Usher, all was kind of working with him with that concert.
I want to take it back a little bit and ask you if you have a favorite memory of Michael. I know a lot of people talk about, like you mentioned earlier, like the Jackson 5, and then there's Motown 25. But like, was there any specific one memory or like one video premiere or something that was your favorite memory?
With just Mike, when Mike was solo or as a group, or just Mike right now?
Either one.
You know, well, I always,
There's so many.
I think, Can You Feel It? Can You Feel It was always my favorite moment with Michael Jackson. That was special to me. Can You Feel It? In addition to, of course, the Billie Jean was another moment that it just took him to another level. I'm never gonna forget that. I saw it live when it was going on. You must have you cannot believe how many phone calls I got that day in my house saying, "Did you see what he just did? Did you
Wow.
see what he just did on the stage?" I should say, even my mother called me, which is your grandmother. She
Yeah.
said, "Did you see what that guy did? How did he do it? You saw what he just did." I mean, the whole world was stopped for a moment to witness Billie Jean moment when it comes to his Jackson. He did his solo act during that time.
Uh-huh.
The whole world, and remember something, it's overshadowed, which is so funny. It overshadowed all the special entertainers that was on that show that day, from Marvin Gaye to Diana Ross to all the ultimate superstars. You know how serious that was?
Yeah.
And that was a moment that took him to another level. That took him to another level. That took Michael Jackson to another level. And that's a moment I won't forget. I hate to say it. I know you asked me about what moments. He had a lot of moments. That makes me feel kind of funny because he had a lot of great moments. I
Yeah.
never forget Forever Came the Day. I never forget Can You Feel It? I never forget Can You Shake Your Body Down to all those moments got overshadowed by Billie Jean. He had a lot of
Yeah.
great moments. You know? Yep.
It's funny because there's so many moments in his career, especially like, growing up, I mostly knew him from the Dangerous era on because I was born in 87. And only when I was like 3 or 4, which was when the Dangerous album came out and that had Remember the Time in black or white, I started knowing him from that moment on. And then
Right.
obviously I went back to Billie Jean and all that. But you kind of encouraged me to get into the Jackson 5 and the Jacksons with that album that you have right on the wall behind you, the Jacksons
Right.
Live. You introduced me to
Right.
that and my mind was blown.
Right. Again, when you think about him, like I said before, it's just so many moments that was iconic. I mean, you forget he was on the Cher, he was on Johnny Carson, he was on Milton Berle. He had so many shows. Sammy Davis Jr. show. You talking about he was on everybody's show because he was somebody that was something special. And you talking about this is over a 30-year period. And now what you remember was 30 years after 30 years to 20 years and 25, 30, 35, 40, which is a year of his entertainment. A total of 50 years of him entertaining the entire world. If you think about that, they celebrate the bicentennial for 200 years of America with the Declaration of Independence. But guess what? For 50 years, Michael been entertaining the world.
Yeah, it's so
For
true.
50 years.
Like
Think about that.
one of the
Think about
longest
it. That's
careers.
right. For 50 years, he been on top. As a matter of fact, I hate to say this here, but it's really honest. He's one of the ones that helped make America great worldwide. Because if they think about what was being produced in America for 50 years, he was part of that.
So true.
And they said he is self-ignorant. And people forget. And that's why I said I always have to give credit to someone like yourself because the world, everybody's so self-centered that they don't really give credence to the people that got us where we are today. And like people like to forget. Can't forget, man. That's so special. He dedicates his entire life to entertaining this world and entertaining America and entertaining the people. That he was all about, as he said, the music.
Yeah.
Everybody had their lives, everybody had their family, everybody had this, everybody went to the movies, everybody did different things. But guess what? Mike was strictly about the music and the entertainment and the dance. And it's funny because I look at him, I said to myself, I can't believe how he used to sit down and dance on that stage from state to state with his brothers. Unbelievable energy. And he took it to another level after that on his own.
Yeah.
You know that? That's special. And as much as we talk about Sammy Davis and those people that was prior before him, remember they did it, like I said, everybody had a little piece, but they didn't have the whole package. One had the dance, one had the voice, one had the look. And here's another thing. I don't think people realize that's iconic. He also, his outfit. Again, he had an outfit that, you know what, is going to be forevermore used in museums and stuff like that as an entertainer. A lot of people don't have that. Besides Elvis and Julie Garland,
Right.
his outfit, that Billie Jean outfit,
Yes.
that's one of those iconic outfits. Forget about the dance, forget about the voice, forget about the song. He had everything going.
That's so true, though, because he has those iconic pieces like the fedora, like the white socks, like the penny loafers, like the jackets with the sequins, the Billie Jean outfits. Like those are things that really set him apart. And like you said, those will be in museums forever. It's almost like if you see an outfit of his, you know that it's Michael Jackson.
That's the point I'm making. I'm saying you have all these great entertainers now, even though Sammy Davis had his moments for 20 years. He never had nothing iconic like an
Right.
outfit. Jackie Wilson, as good as he's great as he was, you don't have nothing that's iconic. Only few people have that. Like I said, only few people have that iconic outfit wardrobe. Michael took everything and put it all together. He put the whole what you call package for entertainment together. And you know what? That's why I think he's considered, to me, one of the greatest entertainers ever. I don't think nobody gonna ever match that because there's too many pieces that he put together. Too many pieces. I mean, I don't think anybody else can. How can you repeat that performance unless we see somebody 50 years from now? We all gonna be gone.
Right.
Right, you understand? He did it for 50 years, so now we got to talk. We're gonna be 100 to see somebody else come along and do the same thing he did.
And
It's not gonna happen.
I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
I must admit, when I think about it, I say to myself, that's the difference between greatness, iconic, and a real American dream. You know
Yeah.
that? And you know that, and that's why I'm gonna say it to you again. I give a lot of love and respect to how you have tried your best to keep his legacy going on. When a lot of people just keep it moving and just deal with today's news, and it's special for somebody to still care enough about somebody that actually gave 50 years of their life to care about this whole world and
Right.
entertainment.
Right. And
Think about that.
he brought so many people together and like you said, like really was an ambassador of America to so many other countries and people learn English off of learning his songs. Like he made an impact that I think people don't even really think about. And so that's why I wanted to continue the show. And, you know, this is going on year 7. I don't know if you realize I've been doing the show for 7 years on YouTube. And now we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just like really trying to spread the message of what Michael Jackson was all about.
Exactly. And that's why I have to say again, Michael did his thing for 50 years and now you're going on 7.
Yep.
And you know what the thing about it, you're actually keeping his legacy alive. And that's why I said, as much as we have to acknowledge what he's done, it makes a lot of people to continue his legacy and let it be known what he's done for them. And like you said, I'll be honest with you. When I talk to you, it brings back memories to me in my childhood of what I used to witness from the music that he played. And again, my biggest thing, you had groups. You had so many singing groups because that was the thing back in the 70s and the 80s. A bunch of groups that used to sing R&B music, but you never seen a bunch of young, talented men or boys like the Jackson 5 that sang, grooved, and danced like they did. And matter of fact, you know, it's funny because everybody tried to be like them. Everybody tried to get their music together and try to actually emulate the Jackson. That's how much he influenced people. Way before Billie Jean. The Silvers tried to emulate him. The Osmonds tried to emulate him with their voice, One Bad Apple. You talking about these people emulated the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
They didn't go too far because the Jackson 5 continued because they was the real. They was not, you know, they did their way.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I say, and when you think about it, that goes to show how long he has been influencing people in music. And I mean, when it comes to groups, guys, and R&B singers, and he's been what you call a pillar to this music library in life. And anytime you mention anybody great, you're going to have to think about him. New Edition, to anybody that was great, Michael Jackson's name's gonna come up because he was part of that. He turned around and his music influenced each and every artist, and that's the problem. That's what's going on with him.
This has been an excerpt from episode number 39 of the Club 30s with MJ Fangirl podcast. Check out full episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and also on the Patreon, where full episodes are dropped exclusively ad-free for Patreon members. Thank you guys so much for supporting if you're a Patreon member, and shout out to our Platinum sponsor, Marlis. You are the absolute best. See you guys in the next episode.